The finish is really nice. There's some really nice scale detail about this FW-190, and in the 1100 millimeter wingspan, she's gonna fit right in your car. Hello pilots, welcome back to Motion RC. I'm James, and today we have another assembly video for you. This is on the 1100 millimeter Focke-Wulf 190 from FlightLine RC. So as you can see, guys, she's absolutely beautiful, as you'd expect to see from all our FlightLine birds. The finish is really nice. There's some really nice scale detail about this FW-190, and in the 1100 millimeter wingspan, she's gonna fit right in your car. Gonna be no problem getting her to the field, getting her in vans, things like that. Should have no trouble there. And you also get, again, some nice scale detail. So you get machine guns up front, already molded in pieces of plastic on the exhaust, and machine guns on the canopy itself. When you pull this bad boy out of the box, prop was already assembled, so I'm gonna check that again before I fly. The only thing I have left to do on the decal, they do give you a spinning decal for your spinner. That's to give you that white nose. These things are tough to do, so I didn't get a chance to do that yet, but I will. But I want to maiden her first before I finish off all the decals. I went with, of the 4 decals, they have 2 for Major Heinz Bar available to you, one in number 13 with a red wrap on the tail, more nose art, red 23 as well. Then they have a Stormead one, and they have an Otto Kittel black one. I went with that one just because it was more simple to do. I wasn't in the mood to do a bunch of decals today, but you can see they give you all the decals, and they are just transfers. They're not water slide or anything. You just peel them off, stick it on, and then peel the plastic nice and easily as you go off. But I actually like the look, the simplicity of this look on my FW-190. But now, as far as build goes, guys, if this is the first time joining us, the way it works, I'll show you how everything came out of the box. Then I'll go over the spec of the aircraft, tell you what's inside, what's powering it as far as electronics and such, and the size. Then we'll do a step-by-step build so you can follow along if you're building this with the manual, because there are definitely some trick tips that I give you that might help you rather than doing it direct from the manual. And then at the end, we'll have it bound up, which we do, and we'll just drop the gear and show you how everything there works. So guys, let's get started with an unboxing. Pulling the 1100 millimeter FlightLine FW-190 out of the box, it's packaged up beautifully like all FlightLine models are. You're going to get all your baggies for all your little bits. So you have a peripheral bag, you have another bag that's going to have your Y leads, control rods, screws for assembly. All right, you have your horizontal stabilizer, so that comes in 2 sections, and you could just pry those apart. You can see those. Again, the finish is beautiful. Now you get a big one-piece wing, which is nice. It's always nice to not have to do any of that extra work. So one piece, and you can see everything's already installed. Your servos are installed in there, 4, 2 for the flaps, 2 for the ailerons. And you see all the nice, they have nylon hinging on the ailerons and such. So definitely nice and durable. And then you're going to pull out your fuselage. And if you look, prop was already assembled. So they already got the prop, the spinner, everything there. I would make sure to check that, make sure it's tightened down perfectly before you go fly. But it's nice that it's mostly complete there for you. So there you have it, guys. Everything looking good. I like the finish of this model. So let's go over the spec. So again, as I said, this is an 1120 millimeter FlightLine FW-190, so it's right in that range of 1100s to 1300s, along with the Bearcat, the TA-152, and such. It's perfect complementary piece to our 1200 millimeter Spitfire as well, for you guys who want to get into adversaries. But again, 1120 millimeter wingspan, which is 44 inches, and it is 986 millimeters long, or 38 4/5 inches long. As far as what's powering up front, this is a 4S powered bad boy. It's going to have a 3648 830 kV brushless outrunner up front, and that is swinging a 3-bladed 10x6 propeller. It's running on a 60 amp brushless ESC. There are 2 Metal Gear servos inside, one for the rudder, one for the elevator, and it's going to have 4 9-gram plastic servos, 2 for the ailerons, 2 for the flaps, and it is made out of EPO foam. So again, nice and durable, easy to fix if you have an issue, but all around a very beautiful FW-190. So let's show you how easy it is to put it together. So first things first, let's get started with the tail. Very simple here. There is no actual fiberglass or carbon sparring. It is all done with the plastic molded mount that's inside the fuselage. You'll see there are two pieces coming out of fuselage, one that looks like a mini spar, and one is where your screw's gonna go. So it doesn't matter which side you start with, just press your horizontal stabilizer, slide it over the pieces, the plastic bits, push it in, and you want to push it far enough so that you can see the screw hole lines up. Then you're going to take two screws. You'll see in the baggie that there are two really long screws and two shorter screws. You're going to grab those 3x8s with the pan head. So the two longer ones, again, are for the main wing assembly, so these last two are the only other two you can use for the horizontal stabilizer. Alright guys, so we have the one-piece main wing. Now, before you install this onto the fuselage, I would take the Y-leads that come and Y-lead your aileron, your flap, and your landing gear here first before you drop it to the fuselage, because again, fuselage is going to be a little tight. It's going to be hard to make those connections easier. Just going to give yourself trouble. You might as well Y them on the table and then just label each end of the Y lead so that you know which is aileron, which is flap, and which is landing gear. Once that's done, make sure you snake all those wires through the fuselage. Your fuselage is upside down, and let's join the wing with the fuselage. So you're going to press from the front first and then slot it back. Then you're going to use those two long screws that came in that baggie that we found the screws for the horizontal stabilizer in, and we're going to drive those two screws in, and your main wing is now complete. So now at this stage, you have majority of it done already. Now you just got to put on the peripherals. First thing I did was the drop tank underneath. So that comes with two plastic clips, and there's only two slots they can glue in. You glue those right to the center line. It's like your center drop tank. And then you're going to take 4 screws which were attached to the same bag that had your main mounting screws. Those are the only other 4 screws in the box. So you're going to screw your drop tank in. And then the last 5 pieces are going to be your 4 main guns and your pitot tube, which goes out on the right wing. And when your aircraft is upside down, it's impossible to mess these up because each piece will only fit where it's supposed to fit. So the 2 smaller guns are going to be on the inside, but they're molded in reverse, so they can only fit on one side. And the 2 outer guns, the longer ones, again, can only fit one way, as well as the pitot tube. But you will see on the back that there are, looks like little pokers. So even though the piece is mounted into the wing where they go, you're just going to be putting glue on and then pressing it into the foam. So it really gives a nice adhesion. Should make sure that they're not going to leave unexpectedly during flight. They seem to be nice and secure. Alright pilots, that'll do it for the step-by-step build. Probably one of the more simple of all the FlightLine birds in this size range. The FW-190 went together really easily. I've got her plugged in, and let's take a look at the landing gear. Boom. Nice and simple. Again, your tail wheel up top. Movement on that, and the rudder is connected off the linkage there. For the tail, again, as I said, your center tank, all nice and secure. Once it's glued on, I have no fear that that's going to be going anywhere. And I really like what they did with the guns and the pitot tube, because it sort of digs itself in. It's not pushing through, but everything else looking good. I have my flaps. I'm going to have to work right now. That's my full flap. That's my half, and that's regular. Aileron working well as expected. And I'm excited to fly this FW-190, especially when we go to a show and we can put her up with the Spitfire, because it's nice to fly the FW-190 in the smaller one with the Dora with the Mustang and the 850, but the FlightLine this series size range, you get the 1200 Spitfire going against the FW-190 is a nice adversary as well. So guys, look out for the flight review. In the flight review, I'll go over the CG, I'll go over the battery we're using. Probably going to use anywhere from a 3300 to a 4000 milliamp up front. I just tucked in the 3600 Admiral in there, and that seems to be pretty good fit. So As with all these FlightLine warbirds in this size range, CG is usually met when you have the proper battery pressed all the way against the firewall. There's really not much place to slide, especially in the FW-190, so that looks like that's probably going to be the pack I go with, but I'll let you know that again when I take her out for another flight. So guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you just put together your FW-190, I hope you have a successful maiden, and stay tuned for more videos coming from Motion RC. See you soon.